Welcome to SFLiberalBuzz. I'm your host, Denise Story. We cover liberal issues and try to remind people what they are. Some people forget even what liberal issues should be. It seems like at City Hall they've forgotten, especially with the appointments and just so much going on, and so little that we should, even feel like we're cared for or governed properly. I'm sad about that. I want to dedicate this show to my cousin Ken Lima. He passed away on December the 30th, and he was prescribed this drug called, it's a heart medication, but they market it as a sex toy. It's called Viagra, but it's a heart life-saving medication. He didn't want to take it because of the way it was advertised, so I really think that the way Viagra is advertised is highly irresponsible to people who actually need it to live. So that's my take on it. Now, no one would ever know it was a heart medication. Really, did you know that Viagra is a heart medication? I didn't until he was prescribed it and didn't want to take it. So we need money out of the healthcare system. I really believe that, profiting off of healthcare, and especially these drugs. I mean, I think Australia, they're allowed to market them on TV as well, but most countries do not allow marketing of drugs on television. And I mean, even Western medicine, it doesn't help everyone anyway. I think we have a call. Let's see if it's for us. Hello, is this for SFLiberalBuzz?
Yeah, this is Psychic Frank.
Hey, Psychic Frank, how you doing?
Yeah, the advertising, I forget about the time thing. Yeah, the advertising control, they're out of control,
Well, it's irresponsible to market a life-saving medication as something.
Okay, I had to shut off the sound. I had my sound up. Yeah, they're really, the pharmaceutical companies, of course, do a lot of good, but they do a lot of damage, like you said with Ken, and they make up diseases, they used to be, they were controlled by the government, now they're not, so. Yeah, people need to be aware that at the end of the day, you have to be your own doctor. And I hate to bring it back to cannabis, but cannabis is good medicine, and yet, not enough doctors are on board with that. So anyway, have a good show. I'll let somebody else call in. I just wanted to chime in that I'm on the same page with you. The pharmaceutical companies, Western medicine, and they're not giving up the power, and it's their way, and that's the way it is, and it's got to change. It's got to change. Okay, have a good show.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, so I would like to thank Frank for ringing up and reinforcing my feelings about these drugs and the irresponsible advertising. I feel that had they marketed it as a life-saving heart medication, although it's probably unusual for people to take it, there's probably more people who would like to use it for the other uses that we know it to be used for. So that means it's all about the almighty dollar, of course. And Western medicine helps people sometimes, but not always. Sometimes it's up to us to really help ourselves, and by eating right, just looking when we cross the street, and try not to eat too much sugar. But I mean, a congenital heart condition, this was what Ken had, and I just showed his picture on the screen. He really would have extended his life had he taken the medication, I'm sure. The doctors told him, and he wasn't willing to take it. So that's something I'm sorry to report. And Ken was my cousin, a good friend, a cannabis activist for medical cannabis. He was on the medical cannabis patient advocacy committee. He took the minutes, and his life was extended with cannabis, we believe. The doctors can't really explain why he even lived to be 45, but so anyway, rest in peace, cousin. We'll always remember you. And Greg Ledbetter, give a shout out to Greg Ledbetter. He made a good quilt square for Ken, like he has so many other cannabis patients in the past. Now, also, I wanted to report on the, let's see, I wanted to report on the environmental impact of tire crumbs. Now, we're gonna get to that in a minute. This is an ongoing battle in the news. I heard it, the news reported on the tire crumb issue, and they really left it inconclusive about the harm done to children when they ingest it in their lungs or ear, any other orifice where it can go, which is practically any, it can even go in your wounds, and it's bad stuff. So this is Bechtel. The trail leads to Bechtel. That's a corporation that they recycle these tires, and they're hooked up with Ed Lee and all these other people at City Hall. I was going to have a guest on to talk about that, Mike Murphy. Now, he might call in, perhaps. I don't know. I haven't been in touch with him. He's at sfoceanedge.org or Save Golden Gate Park, and then that takes you to a WordPress document, so check it out. Google him, because he does a lot of good things. He has a campaign debt of $4,000 because he checked the wrong box when he went against Prop H, which was, Prop I, which was to put the tire crumbs in Golden Gate Park soccer field. Well, anyway, he has to pay a $4,000 fine because they're being soreheads about him going against their soccer field. This is the Fisher family now, and all the people connected with it. The Gap and that trail there. And so I'd like to share more with you about that. An environmental impact report was authored regarding a conversion of 9 acres in Golden Gate Park. The authors for the report were hired by the San Francisco Recreation Park Department. The conversion required removing a grass field and replacing it with SBR tire particles. The authors expressed the surprising opinion that the proposed project would not create a significant hazard to the public or the environment. Says who? This was despite the fact that the following statements were in the environmental impact report. An SBR known to cause a number of diseases including benzothiazoles, aniline, and phenols, and metals including barium, chromium, lead, manganese, and zinc. Impacts related to the routine use of a synthetic turf would be significant if the use resulted in adverse health effects due to inhalation of vapors and particulates from the synthetic turf, ingestion of the synthetic turf, dermal contact with the synthetic turf materials. And it goes on. There were many chemicals, fine particles small enough to be inhaled into the deepest parts of the human lung can cause adverse health effects. And studies have shown that elevated particulate levels contribute to the death of approximately 200 to 500 people per year in the Bay Area. We're just talking about the San Francisco Bay Area. And so if you've seen anything on TV about it, let me know, because I really, the last time I saw something, it was on Channel 2. They reported on it, and it seemed like the report was going in the right direction, and then it just went, then they just dropped the ball and they stopped talking about it, almost like I was waiting for them to say, well, what is it doing, is it hurting the kids or not? So we've got this fella here, Mike Murphy. He did. We'll play a little bit of what he had to say. He was in front of the Gap store. He knows a lot about the bad doings at City Hall. Now, of course, Prop H was outspent, I'd say 20 to 1, wasn't it? 20 to 1? That's quite a margin, and we did pretty well despite being outspent. Now, here's another topic we have got outspent on. Bach Dispensary. Bach Dispensary didn't get their permit back from Waterfall Wellness. It was a hostile takeover. They actually went to the landlord behind their back, assumed the lease, took over, paid 3 times the rent that the regular rent. Well, a lot of dispensaries do that. So we sat there for 2 or 3 hours, and in the appeals board, and saw the whole thing just go pear-shaped. They just were allowed to assume another dispensary's license and just kick the other owners out like it's a hostile takeover, and they were just allowed to do that. I was just chilled to the bone last night at the appeals board, how they all just voted unanimously. You just see that in their eyes that they really didn't care anymore. There was something happened from the last time. At least one of them voted against it last time, and last night it was a unanimous. So I'm just shaken up about that too. We filled the room with people, and they still just didn't really care about the patient community. It seemed they just allowed a hostile takeover of a dispensary on Ocean Avenue. So I'm not going to say the name of it. You'll probably know if you ever go out there. So I used to be a member. They were pretty cool. And then all of a sudden something happened, and they used to give toward dinners. They used to donate medicine, and then all of a sudden new people came in and they were gone. So it was sad. It was. We might have a call here. No. Okay. Welcome to SFLiberalBuzz. You there? Okay. We'll try again if you like. So I wanted to say some more about. We got the. Welcome to SFLiberalBuzz. You there? So other than that, the other things I wanted to report on was the right to rest. If you're familiar with the Western Regional Advocacy Project, I wanted to share an event with you. There's an event coming up with the yeah, I'm having a little technical difficulties with getting this to. Okay, well, I'll just read it out to you. I can't show you. That's all right. Our one campaign, 4 states, 3 bills, 135 organizations, and we're just getting started. Western Regional Advocacy Project, 2nd Annual Martin Luther King Day of Action to stop the criminalization of ourselves and our neighbors. Because, as we all know, a right delayed is a right denied, as Martin Luther King Jr. said. Everyone deserves a right to rest. That's the hashtag, right to rest. Homeless Bill of Rights Day of Action, January 15th to 21st, 2015, and it takes place in San Francisco and Oakland, as well as at Berkeley and other major cities like Sacramento, LA, Portland. So if you want to be a part, contact the Western Regional Advocacy Project at wraphome.org. And their office is also on 16th Street in the brick building there. You've probably been there if you're in the neighborhood here in San Francisco, down there by the plaza, Bart Plaza. And right to rest, that's a hashtag, right, R-I-G-H-T, to rest, since I can't show you on the screen. And so they do a lot of good things. They get legislation, and it's in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. RAP members and allies are once again hosting days of action in celebration of our Homeless Bill of Rights campaign. This year's actions include sleep-outs, marches, music, food, and a Poor People Palooza and film festival. Wow, that sounds great. Our campaign is now active in 4 states and acting in partnership with 135 organizations and thousands of individuals. So they keep increasing their street outreach. I see them all the time. And you can get on their mailing list too, Western Regional Advocacy Project at rap.org. And the right to rest. That means the police actually make you march. It's like a slow march, and you can't really go, all you can do is keep walking, and you can't sit down. It's just, it's inhumane, really. People have to, there's a lot of laws that infringe on people's ability to exist in public spaces. The right to rest stands on the shoulders of social justice campaigns of the past, and we have to work to alleviate poverty and homelessness, and we have to protect homeless and poor people from unjust laws, because the laws are worse than what the people are doing often. And ensuring all people's right to exist in public spaces. In public spaces, I mean the commons, which we're losing a lot of that. It's being privatized, and public's being shut out. Say places in Golden Gate Park, like where they're building the soccer fields. Now that used to be a big soccer field, a big field of meadows near the windmills by the beach that, they had a few rock concerts out there. They were great concerts. Now there won't be those anymore. And they've already even started digging up all the turf, and it's a mess. I'd show you a picture sometime. I don't think I have one right away. And I also wanted to remind you that Tom Amiano is going to give a talk on the last election. It was postponed because of the so-called rainstorm. It was a bit of a wimpy rainstorm, if you ask me. But Tom Amiano will be at 518 Valencia Street, and he's going to talk about the election. It's at 7 p.m. So that'll be on the 22nd of January. So that's coming up. And the SF 99% Coalition will host them. So they used to be at the Universalist Unitarian Church, so they used to be very progressive. So what happened? Why can't they have Tom anymore? That's fine. That's scary. Why can't Tom be at Universalist? Have they changed hands with somebody? I don't know. We'll see. Curious. Let me know if you hear anything. And let's see. Now, when I was looking out my window the other day, and there's a lot of tour buses that go by, and the tour bus, the tour guide was on his microphone saying about how this is a high crime area and this and that, and I told him, hey, the high crime area is down where they trade the stocks. Go further. You have to go a little further for that. So we're not far from there. I'm talking about the Tenderloins. So the Tenderloins are nice. There's a lot of people doing positive things there, so I'd like to hear a lot about that. There's the Alliance for a Better District 6. They meet every month, and to get involved with them. Alliance for a Better District 6. They're on Facebook, and they bring the community together in ways that a lot of people have forgotten about. They bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots, if you will. It's an open forum. Everyone's welcome to present their issues. It's run by Michael Nolte and his brother John Nolte, who were candidates for supervisor. Each one, Michael Nolte did pretty well in his race. He came in second behind Jane Kim, so I have to congratulate him on that. And I can't wait to talk about the election. That's going to be on an upcoming show with Tom Amiano. I'm going to be there recording that, so that will be on an upcoming Axis of Love show, which is shown every Friday at 6 p.m. It's all about politics, the liberal side of politics, liberal candidates, and why we need more liberal people in City Hall. City Hall is kind of, the pendulum swung back to being more conservative now, so we'll see. Maybe the pendulum will swing back again to being more liberal like it was. Well, Tom Amiano used to be the only supervisor we really had for a while. Then we had Daly, Campos, Avalos, And now we're back to, we'll see, I don't know, I used to give public comment more, but now I'm kinda scared to go in there and I don't know what to really say anymore to them, so, you know, any suggestions, let me know. So, I have to figure out more things to talk about when it comes to SB 26, that was gonna wipe out SB 420. No, this is AB 26, excuse me. AB 26 for the cannabis community. It was gonna take away our right to collectively grow, which was guaranteed by Senate Bill 420 back in about in the 90s. I guess 96. And so we haven't heard anything about that. There's no news of that. And Joan Sawyer was the assembly member who brought it up. He's from out of LA, and he's got friends that probably aren't really down with people growing collectively. Say city dwellers who don't have a yard and can't grow their own medicine will have to just pay for it. So that's what that bill promises. It promises to dismantle Senate Bill 420, which is really, it's a civil rights issue. Let's get real with that. Oh, we've got a half a minute left, so I'd like to remind you to adopt a shelter pet over on Alabama Street. It's a great organization. I've adopted a few myself. At least two in the last couple of years. I still got them. I'm very happy, and I'd like you to buy a street sheet. People work hard on those issues. They've gone up to $2. I'm sorry, I wish they were cheaper, but yeah. They're still worth, people pour their hearts into them. And Let's Talk Sports is coming up next in about 7 minutes. So